This video is about ninth chords. It is designed to tie in with my book, How to Really Play the Piano. We're looking at material that is in part 1. If you're interested in the book, you can see it flashing up on the screen now with a link to find out more. Ninths are peculiar chords. You often come across them in a range of different contexts. We're going to look in the video at 3 different types of ninth chord. First of all, there is the straightforward ninth. That is C9. Okay. Then there's the major ninth. Okay. That's C major ninth. And then there's the minor ninth. That's C minor ninth. Okay, how do we form all of those? Okay, well, it's fairly straightforward. C9, you take the dominant 7 chords of the chord that you're interested in, so that's C7, and you add the note that is a third up from the dominant 7th, which in this case is D. Okay, it's also the note that is tone up, 2 semitones up from the root. Okay, so the second note of the scale is also the 9th. Okay, so that's the easy way to remember it. So that's C7, that's C9th. Okay, let's look at that in another key. So that is G7, that is G9th. Okay. Major ninth, if you know what a C major 7 is, if you looked at the previous video, do exactly the same thing, but instead of having the B flat, the dominant 7th, the minor 7th, you have the major 7th. So that is C major 9th, because we're adding a 9th again. Again in G, it's a G major 7, and that's a G major 9th. Okay. We'll look at the 2 minors in a second. What's interesting about the ninth chord is the configuration you see it in. Often the main ninth itself, which you need effectively 2 hands to play, is relatively uncommon in that configuration. Okay, you're more often likely to see it in a configuration like that, and a C in the left. Okay, that's a particularly common chord shape, especially in modern sort of ballads and folk songs. Okay, that's a ninth. It's a lovely, warm, pleasant sound. If you see a ninth in that configuration, I mean, it could be a major ninth or a minor ninth. The implied difference doesn't make a great deal of difference. You'll not often see that. Okay, you won't get the C, D and E next to each other. You'll get the 9th, the 3rd, the 5th, and then the root will be down the bottom somewhere. It's quite interesting to play about with chords, just putting the 9th in to see how it changes them. Okay, so if we consider a chord like E flat major, E flat major 9th might include that. In other words, the 7th is often missed out of the 9th chord, although technically it should be there, it's often missed out. The other way you see it is in jazz, where chords like F9 are really common, and that's when you do get all the notes in the chord, F, A, C, E flat, so that would be the dominant 7th chord plus the 9th. Okay, very common sound in jazz. Also works in other keys, obviously. So that's in B flat and back to F. There are so many different configurations and ways of playing ninths that it's worth spending a bit of time with a chord finding tool like the Piano World chord tool, which is flashing up now. Address for that is flashing up. Or if you're reading the book, it's worth spending time looking at the chord charts in the back and just playing some chords that you're used to and dropping in the ninths with or without the equivalent 7th. Okay. Minor ninths are a slightly different kettle of fish. C minor ninth, and in some ways a little bit more straightforward, because the ninth is almost always on the top of the chord rather than squashed in here, and the reason for that is if you put it down the bottom, it clashes with the minor third quite badly. In C major, it doesn't clash with the third. In C minor, it does. Okay, so C minor ninth, very common in kind of a lot of post-war jazz, is the minor ninth chord. Okay, ninths are a bit funny. It's difficult to explain them in detail in a short video like this. Just remember that the ninth that you're adding is the same as the second note of the scale, so that's the same. That's the chord scale of C major. The ninth is the D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which of course is the same as the second. So if you see a ninth, basically it means adding that second note to the scale in somewhere, whether it is major ninth, ninth, or minor ninth. Okay, all a bit complicated, so if you've got any questions about that, stick a question in the comment thread on the original Jamcast post where you will find this video embedded. If you're, here's the address. If you are not looking at this on Jamcast, then if you're looking at it on YouTube, by all means add a question in the YouTube comment thread, and I'll come back to you and answer it as easily as I can. And if people ask, if people get really stuck, I'll quite happily make another kind of little video to explain this one, because I realise ninths are complicated. Okay, but they're great fun to play around with when you're used to them. These are all ninths. These are major ninths and lovely minor ninths. Listen to that, gorgeous. Lovely.